Welcome to the Shreveport Connection with Tommy. This video is on your Raw results and WWE main event. Birthdays. Start off June the 8th, Tatanka. This video is for the June 10th episode. Birthdays. Tatanka, 1965. Liv Morgan, 1994. Dan Severn, 1958. June 9th birthday, Tainara Conti. 1995, Deonna Purrazzo, June the 10th, rounds out the birthdays for this week. She was born 1994. Raw announcer Renee Young is being considered as the host for the weekly WWE studio show that will premiere on FS1 later this year. According to the big lead, no word yet on when Renee might be announced for the show or who her co-host could be, but the big lead reports that she is highly likely to land the role of host. Also noted, Triple H revealed back in April that the weekly studio show will air on Fox Sports 1 on Tuesday nights, beginning in the fall, in replace of SmackDown. SmackDown goes to Friday, then you got this. This will be the second WWE Fox show as SmackDown begins airing on Friday nights on Fox Broadcast, starting on October 4th. Renee is expected to be a good fit for the show after her work on the Talk Is Back series that was a hit with the fans. The WWE studio show on Fox will feature discussions on the various happenings, plus appearances by familiar faces from the past and present. According to Triple H, Triple H also said in this link is something he wants to do for her, do for a long time. Go to that link from April when he revealed the show. The Hall of Famer Stone Cold Steve Austin announced on Twitter that his Steve Austin Show podcast will return on Tuesday, June 18th. Austin hasn't released new episodes since 2018 because he's been on break. The show, Podcast 1, has been posting classic episodes since then, but the new episodes should resume in 1 week. Former WWE Intercontinental Champion and ECW Champion Ezekiel Jackson was backstage visiting Monday's live event in Reno, Nevada, and you can see him at this link with Kofi. As he left in 2014, has worked for a few promotions since then, including Impact Wrestling and Lucha Underground. WWE posted this video link of Mojo Rawley working the crowd during commercial break. And last night's Raw from San Jose, California, Mojo called San Jose a B-level city and went on about why he's an A-level player. Similar to Daniel Bryan and The Miz, the A-lister. Mojo also commented on the paint that he's been wearing lately. I'm an A-level player because I have the strength to look upon myself in the mirror and master my reality. Mojo said, which is why I wear this shattered glass war paint on my face. Proudly. Proudly. What do you have to be proud of, San Jose? Huh? Former WWE Champion Alberto Del Rio from WWE is undergoing his name as Alberto El Patron, is heading a new promotion, which can be found in this link, called Nacion Lucha Libre. The promotion was announced at a press conference on Tuesday afternoon, and go to that link, and it's courtesy of Lucha TV. The new promotion will launch on Thursday, July 11th, with a show at Sala de Armas in Mexico City, Mexico. That event, a future NLL events, will air on Saturdays from 10:30 p.m. Central Time until midnight on the Image TV network. According to Lucha Central, the first show will air July 13th, 2 days after it tapes in Mexico. Poster is also at the link as well, advertising following matches for the July 11th show. It's interesting to note that former WWE superstar MVP is also listed on Team Puerto Rico in the PR versus Team Mexico 6-man main event. Team Mexico is Alberto El Patron, Dr. Wagner Jr., El Hijo Fantasma versus Team Puerto Rico, MVP El Macias, and Apollo. Ray Phoenix and Pentagon Jr. versus Chavo Guerrero Jr. and Mecha Wolf 450. Damien 66 versus El Solar versus Negro Navarro versus E1 Kanak. Frezero Jr. and Mr. Iguana versus Bestia 666 and Black Taurus versus Laredo Kid and the Tiger. Flamita and Daga versus Ray Horace and Puma King. Sexy Star, Lady Flamer, Reina Oscara versus Thunder Rosa, Christy James, and Stephanie Vaquer. Bram, La Mascara, Batab El Guerrero versus Hijo de Dos Caras, Hijo de Wagner, and Duel. Real Lampego versus Hedy Karai. Hope I pronounced these names correctly. Former WWE manager Ricardo Rodriguez is listed as a referee for the promotion. A tribute to Dos Caros and Gene Evlis was also advertised for the first event. A few shots from a press conference in this link, along with a flyer for the first event. Former WWE and TNA performer Tyrus, formerly known as Brodus K, was reportedly removed from his Fox Nation show on PC due to a sexual harassment complaint filed by co-host Britt McHenry. The Daily Beast reported that McHenry was sent numerous unsolicited text messages by Tyrus. Tyrus, whose real name is George Murdoch, allegedly sent such texts to McHenry which contained lewd and sexual statement. Tyrus originally co-hosted on PC with Britt McHenry before moving on to his own show called Nuff Said, after a personal dispute had occurred between he and McHenry in April. Unknown if the Nuff Said is still going on. Tyrus was questioned by The Hollywood Reporter's Jeremy Barr by Twitter about the incident, which Tyrus responded, "No comment, and don't mess with me again." Must have been true. According to two sources who previously were employed by Fox News, Tyrus had a history of making jokes and comment in politically incorrect nature, adding that his sense of humor is considered to be wild. It was said by others with knowledge of Tyrus's professional environment that he had a long history of acting outwardly angry towards crew members. As of now, Tyrus has not made any statement of the incident. Co-host and complainee McHenry has yet to comment either. Fox News issued the following statement: "While we are not at liberty to discuss the details of any employee matter, we follow strict protocols when matters such as these are brought to our attention, and we make no exceptions. The process works because of the extensive systems and measures that we have instituted. The situation was independently investigated, and we consider the matter resolved. We respect the confidentiality of all involved." Tyrus was released by WWE in 2014. Following his release, he began a 4-year stint with TNA Wrestling before finally transitioning into a political commentator role with Fox News. Last night's Raw saw WWE Tag Team Champions, the Iconics, win a non-title match over two local enhancement talents from the California indie scene, Lisa Lace and Alea Mia. Lace, who made an appearance for Impact Wrestling back in November, worked under her actual ring name on the indies, while Mia was played by indie wrestler Mia Sweets. Lace also worked for the Hood Slam promotion as Shakira Spears. Both talents have competed for and trained with East Bay Pro Wrestling in Pacheco, California. The first collaboration between WWE Studios and Netflix is scheduled to begin filming this summer. According to PW Insider, the project will shoot in Vancouver, British Columbia from late June through late August. One movie is entitled The Main Event, and it will tell the story of a 10-year-old boy who was bullied but dreams of growing up to become a WWE superstar. The boy gets to live his dream earlier than expected when he discovers the secret to having super strength in his breakfast cereal, becoming the Spaghetti Kid. Why would they call him the Spaghetti Kid? It's breakfast cereal. Well, you have to watch the movie to find out, I guess. John Cena is referenced in the movie and reportedly has a cameo role late in the film. There's also small roles for Bray Wyatt, The Miz, and Sheamus. The movie also features several references to WWE NXT, so they may have NXT involved in the movie as well. WWE Studios has been working with Netflix to develop new original feature films. The projects will be directed towards family audiences. No word yet on when WWE will officially announce the main event or their relationship with Netflix. Former UFC Women's Featherweight Champion Chris Cyborg Justino told ESPN's Ariel Helwani on Monday that she will be testing the free agent market after her next fight at UFC 240 on July 27th. She will face Felicia Spencer that night, and that will be the last fight on her current contract with the promotion. And the news can be found at that link. So Cyborg has campaigned for the WWE potential WWE match on social media for months now, looking at Ronda Rousey and Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch as possible opponents. Among others, she stopped at WWE Performance Center for a visit back in January, but did not do any training as she was just in the area for another event. Also, speculation on Cyborg possibly working with AEW, as she was ringside for the Double or Nothing pay-per-view in Las Vegas last month. Speaking to Helwani on Monday, Cyborg did not rule out a future in pro wrestling. She said she didn't get to fight Rousey in MMA, but she hopes that could happen in a square circle one day. It's hard to be a pro wrestler, Cyborg said when asked about a possible run. They work very hard. They're very athletic. Maybe I did training before, a little bit. Andrade and Charlotte Flair are taking time off from WWE action due to Andrade's mother passing away. And that's why he wasn't on SmackDown this week, according to Dave Meltzer of Wrestling Observer Radio. Flair and Andrade missed weekend events, Monday Live events, and Flair's status for SmackDown for Sacramento was also up in the air. Meltzer noted that Andrade likely will not be at the SmackDown event. Andrade's mother, Juanis Oropeza, reportedly passed away over the weekend while Andrade was in Saudi Arabia for a WWE Super Showdown match against WWE Intercontinental Champion Finn Balor. Oropeza reportedly had been sick for several weeks, if not months. Well, my condolences go out to him and his family. WWE's official preview for SmackDown makes no mention of Flair or Andrade. 3 more talents have received their WWE NXT names. Garza Jr. is now being called Angel Garza, while ACH is now using the name Jordan Miles. Jonah Rock is now being called Bronson Reed. Doesn't say where he's from, or what company he's from. ACH had been using his real name, Albert Hardy Jr., since debuting at NXT live events, but now he's going under that new name. Garza and Rock have been using those names since also debuting earlier this year at live events. All 3 NXT superstars have updated their social media accounts to show the new ring names as well. Garza's new Twitter handle is at Angel Garza WWE. Reed can now be found on Twitter at Bronson Reed WWE. And Miles can still be found at GoGo ACH, but his name has changed. Miles revealed on Twitter that he picked the new name himself. He explained the choice on Twitter and wrote the following in response to criticism from a fan. I wasn't chasing $1. I was chasing a dream. They didn't pick this name. I did. Michael Jordan is my hero. Miles, because we have an African American Spider-Man. When you say them together, it sounds like a heroic athlete to me. I'm I may hold us down, but you got to trust me. How WWE Hall of Famer Bill Goldberg tweeted about knocking himself out during the WWE Superstar Showdown in Saudi Arabia, lost to The Undertaker last week in Saudi Arabia. Goldberg thought he could finish the match and blamed that on the botches and bad finish. It's believed that Goldberg knocked himself out by charging into ring post early in the match. According to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, Goldberg was also busted open in the match and bled heavily. Well, if you've seen the pay-per-view, he had a big gash in his forehead backstage while he was preparing for his match coming to the ring. No word yet on why WWE didn't follow the standard protocol and send out a doctor to either interrupt the match or whatever. Both Taker and Goldberg reportedly collapsed backstage after the match. The Observer adds that it was believed that Goldberg suffered a concussion early on in the match, which could have been the ring post spot. On a related note, there is said to be no truth to any rumors going around on Taker and Goldberg getting into a shouting match backstage after the match. PW Insider reports that people in the company who were in Saudi Arabia for Super Showdown quickly shot that rumor down when asked about it. Armed Response film with Seth Rollins tells about the film at this link. Another WWE Films project. Vince McMahon, Stephanie McMahon, Triple H, and Kevin Dunn were all absent from this week's Raw and SmackDown in California. According to Wrestling Observer newsletter, this may be a first that all four top officials were not present. Stephanie is not a regular at TV these days and only comes when she's needed, which hasn't been the case as of late. Triple H decided to make the trip to Florida since there were back-to-back days of NXT tapings at Full Sail University. Triple H felt that he needed to be in Florida for the NXT TakeOver Toronto build-up to help get everything ready. Vince was not there because he had some corporate items that he felt he needed to take care of. Dunn doesn't come to TV tapings when Vince isn't there. WWE head writer Ed Koskey was said to be running around like crazy at Monday's Raw, kind of in control, it was said. Dana Warrior, who recently started working with WWE creative team, was also there. She worked hands-on with Lacey Evans. There's no word yet on if Evans is a project of Warrior's, but Warrior works heavily with Evans on her promos. Thanks to the news from Wrestling Observer newsletter. Recently on E&C's podcast of awesomeness, Professional Wrestling Greats is a Christian, which can be found in this link. Welcome to the podcast there, fellow WWE alumnus, MVP. Among many other things, MVP talked about why he never became WWE champion and the current trends in professional wrestling. Specifically, MVP discussed why he is not a fan of the Young Bucks, in-ring style, and intergender wrestling. Additionally, MVP hypothesized as to why the Jenner has moved away from simulated fighting to a highly athletic and heavily choreographed live stunt show. MVP, who recently participated in a moving and inspirational TEDx talk on the subject of criminality of the United States, indicated there was a talk of making him WWE champion. According to MVP, his world title run never happened because there were countries that would not let him enter due to his criminal background. There was a time, it was relayed to me by some of the writers who I had become friends with and people higher up on the chain, that there were a talk about me having a world championship run, but there was a lot of hesitation because there were certain countries that wouldn't allow me in because of my violent felony past. And that's why our truth not allowed in some of the countries. I can't blame WWE for that. That's a business decision. But I'm like, dang, I'm still paying, and all these years later, I'm still paying. If he explained, if the laws are set up that you are released from prison, then once the rules of our society have established that you are allowed to be back in society, then you should have the rights of every other member of society. That's my take. During the interview, MVP shared that he is not a fan of the ring work of the Young Bucks, but is a fan of their industry's industrious spirit. Now I'm the graybeard looking that's around going, if things have evolved. Only difference is I'm not one of these bitter pricks going, oh, you guys are killing the business. I'm going, okay, I'm not a fan of a lot of what's becoming, but I recognize what it is. If it continued, you take the Young Bucks, they are the hottest act in the world. I was on tour with them in Australia, the House of Hardcore, and you had me, Tommy Dreamer, Billy Gunn, Jack Swagger, and you had a bunch of name guys on the card, and the longest line every night was for the Young Bucks. They sold out of T-shirts. They brought boxes of T-shirts, and they sold out on like the second night. Booker T and I, we often argue, good-naturedly, of course, about the Young Bucks, and I would defend them. And I say, I'm not a fan of the Young Bucks style of wrestling, but I'm a fan of the Young Bucks because to create your own lane, and you find a niche, and you get your groove on. If people are buying tickets to see it, how could anybody say you're be doing it wrong? According to MVP, the current generation of professional wrestlers always knew pro wrestling was predetermined, and this has changed the trajectory of the business. This generation of pro wrestling didn't grow up on pro wrestling reel. MVP averred, you never know what pro wrestling. No, you never known pro wrestling to be real. It has always been sports entertainment to them. We grew up with kayfabe. We grew up with wrestling being MMA before there was MMA. So our whole perspective on what it is and what it isn't, what it should and shouldn't be, is totally different. We grew up watching old westerns where a bar fight was throw a punch, block it, punch. And later on, Jean-Claude Van Damme came along and the game changed a little bit. But then the Matrix hit and that changed everything. Fight choreography in movies and was changed forevermore. Now every movie you see, John Wick, The Transporter, Jason Bourne, all fight choreography is martial arts barrage. That's really cool. The Avengers, it's every fight scene. This is how they fight now, and that's kind of what happened in pro wrestling. With these kids who are wrestling now, they don't look at it so much as simulated combat. It's entertainment. They're superheroes. They're video games. It's larger than life. On the subject of intergender wrestling, MVP said, is not a fan. He is not a fan because of the suspension of disbelief. MVP noted that if professional wrestling was real, striking would be involved, and women cannot hit as hard as men. Generally speaking, with that being said, MVP acknowledged that pro wrestling fans and performers who look at the gender in a similar light as a superhero movie or a fighting video game would be able to enjoy intergender wrestling for its entertainment factor. Because I grew up on pro wrestling being simulated combat, I'm not a fan of intergender matches because for me, wrestling was MMA before MMA. There's no intergender MMA because there's psychological, biological differences between men and women. But if your take on wrestling is that we're superheroes or scripted entertainment, then sure, a woman can wrestle a man. If you play video games, Street Fighter, Chun-Li kicks butt, Wonder Woman will whoop Batman's butt. There's no discussion there. MVP added, it's just a different mentality. It's a different presentation. And it's being consumed differently. Again, I don't like intergender wrestling, but I'm not going to crucify those kids that are doing it today because they are doing it in front of audiences. And they're putting money in their pockets. That are people providing tickets to see. So if you're an old timer going, oh, that sucks. Okay, maybe. But all those people that are filling up those buildings watching it, they're enjoying it. So instead of bemoaning the state of wrestling, either get with it or move to the side. Indie wrestler star Joey Ryan is headed for a divorce. According to TMZ, Bryan and women's wrestler Laura James made headlines back in February 2016 after Ryan proposed during their Finest City Wrestling Intergender match in San Diego, California. Which I did a report on that in one of my videos back then. Do you remember it? As James said, right there in the middle of the ring. TMZ reports that the couple actually separated just 11 months after getting married in November 2017. They officially filed for divorce Tuesday of this week. I'm doing this video a little bit late this week. James noted divorce documents that they are calling it quits due to irreconcilable differences. Most marriages are like that. Highlights of Chris Jericho's post-match and Hiroshi Tanahashi's save on IWGP Heavyweight Champion Kazuchika Okada last Sunday's Dominion. After the match, Jericho commented if he would get involved in this year's G1 Climax and referenced a WWE storyline where Jon Moxley, formerly known as Dean Ambrose, destroyed his signature light-up jacket. Maybe I'll show up in the G1. Jericho said, maybe I want to be in the G1. What do you think about that? Maybe I'll enter the G1. Is Okada in the G1? Is Tanahashi in the G1? If they are, maybe I'll show up in the G1. And I'll kick Jon Moxley's butt, too. He still owes me $15,000 for ripping up my light-up jacket 3 years ago. AXS TV sent Wrestling Inc. the following news on their upcoming lineup, featuring Women of Wrestling and New Japan Pro Wrestling. Season 2. WoW and NJPW moved to Saturday nights starting July 13th. WoW Season 2 premieres September 7th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific. So that makes it 7 p.m. Central Time. 8-week recap of WoW Season 1 begins July 13th at 8 p.m. Well, they've had replays and replays and replays. I had seen the first 5 episodes. And last I know, Tessa Blanchard was your champion there. Night 1 of the NJPW G1 Climax Tournament will be broadcast live from Dallas on July 6th at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Pacific. That's 5 p.m. our time. For the first time ever, AXS TV will air same-day real-time coverage of NJPW Saturday G1 Climax events, kicking off July 13th at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 8 p.m. Central Time. IWGP Heavyweight Champion Kazuchika Okada spoke to media after he retained the title against Chris Jericho at Dominion. Okada commented about how he felt after their match went, and if he would have a rematch to get some revenge for the victims post-match attack. That was absolutely a Jericho match, Okada admitted. He has an uncanny ability to change the rhythm, think, and catch you at times. He's a great wrestler, but I don't ever want to adopt that approach he has. I don't respect his style. I don't have any respect for that kind of low-down fighting. He doesn't need it. After however long he's been in the business, in my opinion, I'm fine either way. If he wants me to put the belt on the line so I can get my revenge, that's cool. But I feel he started something I need to finish. WWE taped the following matches from San Jose, California for this week's main event episode. The Viking Raiders defeated Titus O'Neil and No Way Jose. Natalya defeated Sarah Logan. Raw opens up from the SAP Center in San Jose, California. Michael Coleslaw welcomes us to the show with Corey Graves and Renee Young. We go to the ring. Out comes Universal Champion Seth Rollins to a pop. Coleslaw shows how Rollins retained over Baron Corbin at Super Showdown in Saudi Arabia on Friday, and then the post-match angle where Brock Lesnar failed to cash in on Rollins. Thanks to a botch by him and Paul Heyman. Rollins is carrying the steel chair that he used on Lesnar. It's still beat up. Rollins talks about how excited and fired up he is because we're entering a new era. Rollins talks about how people can come to try to take the title from him, but no one is good enough to lace his boots. Rollins says Lesnar has been with WWE since 2002, but no one has handled the beast like Rollins did on Friday. Rollins says it felt pretty dang good to lay into Lesnar the way he did. Rollins goes on, but the music interrupts. Out comes a smiling Corbin. Rollins goes on about how no one can stop him. He's the best thing going. He will prove that by winning the title from Rollins at WWE Stomping Grounds. So he's getting a rematch. He also gets some local heat. Rollins brings up his loss at Super Showdown. Corbin says he didn't lose the match. He blames it on referee John Cone. Corbin says he learned some things as Raw General Manager, and he's been putting those lessons to good use today. Corbin says he's been in meetings all day, and two things came out of them. Cone will be punished, and Corbin will get his rematch at Stomping Grounds, and there will be a special guest referee. Corbin says he gets to pick the referee. Rollins says Corbin can pick whoever he wants, but it won't matter because Rollins will stomp his head in and retain. Rollins is curious about who the special referee might be. He goes on about how no one likes Corbin, even his own dog. Music interrupts, and out comes Sami Zayn to booze. Sami says he can't believe he's about to say this, but he's on Team Corbin for this one. Sami goes on about how he's known Rollins for a long time, and he agrees that being champion is not good for Rollins. Sami talks about the repetitive cycle of toxic masculinity that Rollins has been caught up with Lesnar. Sami says it would be better for Rollins, better for Raw, and better for each fan if Corbin was champion. Rollins threatens Sami, but the music interrupts, and out comes Kevin Owens, coming to Raw from SmackDown for tonight under wildcard rule. Owens agrees about Rollins not being champion. Owens goes on, and Rollins interrupts, saying that these three are melting his brain. Rollins challenges Owens to come to the ring and do something about it. Owens says since he's here on the wild card rule, whatever that means anyway, then maybe he will take Rollins up on that offer and do something about it. Rollins says Owens is on for tonight's main event. Rollins' music hits, and he walks up the ramp right past the three heels on stage, and they stare him down. Still to come, a triple threat for the Raw Tag Team Channels. Also, Samoa Joe on Miz TV, and Michael Cole's all sit-down interview with Lacey Evans and Becky Lynch. 1-on-3 handicap match with Lars Sullivan versus the Lucha House Party. Camera cuts backstage to Lars Sullivan warming up in the gorilla position. Music hits, out he comes to the ring. Back commercial. Back for the break. Out comes the Lucha House Party. Kalisto, Lance Dorado, and Grand Metallic. Lars strikes on Metallic first as Kalisto starts the match. Kalisto tries to mount some offense and goes to the top, but Lars levels him in mid-move, destroying him quickly. Lars covers for the pin and the first elimination. Dorado enters the ring next. Goes out with Lars. Lars blocks and easily destroys Dorado. Lars with a running powerbomb for the pin and is eliminated. Metallic comes at Lars now. Lars fights him off and takes a few shots, but they do nothing. Lars spikes Metallic into the mat and yells out. Lars looks to put Metallic away, but he's not done having fun. Lars goes back to work, but Kalisto tries to make the save. Kalisto ends up getting launched out of the ring onto steel steps. He lands bad and really sells it. Lars with more offense on Metallic. Lars covers for the pin, but he stops it, and he isn't done. Lars ends up taking Dorado out with the post and ring post and steps on the floor again. Lars returns to the ring, to the apron, while Kalisto and Dorado are down on the floor. Lars goes to the top, nails a big flying headbutt on Metallic, who is still down in the middle of the ring. Lars covers for the pin, and final elimination. After the match, Lars Santana yells out as the music hits, go to replays. We saw Carmella and WWE 24 champion R-Truth backstage hiding and running around. A group of superstars suddenly chase them, but there's no referee. Truth and a bunch of superstars get on an elevator. A referee appears, but he doesn't make it into the elevator. Along with a bunch of other superstars, the elevator breaks down and is now stuck. Security camera inside the elevator shows Truth, Carmella, Drake Maverick, EC3, Heath Slater, and Cedric Alexander. No referee. Truth says this is what they get for chasing him. We see Lacey Evans backstage getting ready for her match. We also see Becky Lynch with Seth Rollins backstage. Cole Saul acknowledges that Becky is with her boyfriend. Back commercial. Back from the break, Michael Coleslaw interviews Lacey Evans and Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch. The screen is split 3 ways with superstars in their backstage area. They discuss the Stomping Grounds match while Evans sips on her tea. Lynch taunts Evans for tapping out recently. Becky says she won't let someone like Lacey defeat her. Lacey says she fought to get where she's at and nothing can stop her until she gets that title. They go on and Evans knocks Becky's gimmick of being the man, saying she's not buying it. Evans says Becky is scared and she can smell it, and the next step is taking the title at Stomping Grounds. Becky says she will beat Evans again. Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss backstage. Cross was looking forward to facing the Iconics. Bliss apologizes for teaming with Becky Lynch to face Lacey Evans and Bayley tonight. Bliss takes shots at Bayley, and it feels like she's trying to manipulate Cross into something. Bliss asks if Cross will be in her corner tonight for the tag match, and she will. We go to ring for Miz TV, and the Miz makes his way out. They air Miz's fatherhood.gov ad with his daughter as we go to commercial. Back to the ring, we see still pictures and videos for Super Showdown in Saudi Arabia on Friday, including comments from the fans and the crowd. We go to ring, and the Miz is out for another must-see episode of Miz TV. Miz gives some praise for his guests before bringing out U.S. Champion Samoa Joe. Joe takes a mic and says Miz is pushing the wrong narrative out here because he is not the new U.S. Champion. He goes on about how he never lost the title to Rey Mysterio. Really? Miz asks. Miz shows us a replay from last week where Joe attacked Rey after Rey relinquished the title to him due to a separated shoulder injury. Miz knocks Joe some for last week's behavior and the threat to Rey's son Dominic. Joe mocks Miz some and says he was under the impression that he was coming out tonight to talk about potential challenges. But if Miz wants to keep talking about crossing certain lines, then maybe Joe should start talking about Miz's family. Miz stands up and Joe also gets up. They stare each other down until Miz interrupts. Out comes Braun Strowman. Strowman speaks while walking to the ring and says if Joe is looking for a challenger, maybe he should shut his mouth and get these hands. Joe enters the ring, staring down Miz and Joe. So Strowman enters the ring. Miz interrupts. Out comes Bobby Lashley. Lashley says Braun talks like he wants to move on, but Lashley isn't done with Strowman. Lashley says he and Joe have history, and if anyone deserves a title shot, then it's him. Music interrupts again, and out comes Ricochet with a mic. Ricochet says these guys are always out here arguing about who's bigger and stronger, which obviously isn't him. But after his recent wins over Cesaro, he wants to use that momentum and win his first title. Cesaro's music hits, and out he comes. Comes to the stage and rocks Ricochet with a cheap shot, dropping him. Cesaro stomps away on Ricochet as the brawl breaks out in the ring. Cesaro brings Ricochet into the ring to join in the melee. The slobber knocker. Strowman knocks Cesaro back out to the floor with a punch. It's down to Miz, Strowman, and Ricochet standing tall in the ring while Lashley, Cesaro, and Joe recover on the floor. Commercial. And the match is up next. The heels versus faces. Strowman, Ricochet, and Miz versus Lashley, Cesaro, and Samoa Joe. Back from the break, the bell rings. Strowman starts off with Lashley, trading moves to counter for a pop. Strowman levels Lashley with a big pop. Miz ends up coming in and hitting a running knee on Lashley. Lashley counters but runs into a big boot. Cesaro distracts Miz, allowing Joe to drop him with a cheap shot. Lashley with more offense. Joe tags in and unloads on Miz in the corner. Cesaro and Lashley with cheap shots to Miz while the referee is distracted. Cesaro and Joe double team Miz now. Cesaro keeps Miz grounded after he tags in. Ricochet comes in and starts unloading on Cesaro. Ricochet also takes Lashley down with a crossbody. Ricochet counters the power move and sends Cesaro flying with a Hurricane Rana. Fans go wild as Ricochet leaps out of the ring, taking Cesaro down to the floor. We go to commercial with both men facing off on the floor. Back from the break, we end up getting big shots from between Cesaro and Ricochet. Cesaro sends Ricochet to the floor, and Lashley takes back in. Lashley keeps control, but Ricochet nails him with an enziguri in the corner. Ricochet sends Lashley into the corner now. Miz tags in and unloads with kicks to Lashley in the corner. More offense. Joe approaches on the apron, but Miz kicks him down. Lashley charges Miz in the corner, but he moves and Lashley hits the turnbuckle. Miz drops Lashley with a DDT. Miz drops Cesaro with a DDT. Miz sets tall for a pop from the crowd. Miz delivers the yes kicks to Lashley and then Cesaro, both while they're on their knees. Cesaro goes down with a roundhouse kick. Lashley blocks the roundhouse kick and drives Miz down. Joe tags in and knocks Strowman off the apron. Joe with a senton to Miz. Joe covers for the pin, but Strowman breaks it up. Miz with a jawbreaker to Cesaro as he comes in. Strowman ends up launching Lashley into the barrier. Cesaro catches Miz with a Cesaro swing in the middle of the ring. Cesaro swings him much longer than usual, so long that even he gets dizzy. Cesaro goes for a sharpshooter next, but it's stopped. Miz tags in Strowman as Cesaro gets up. Strowman unloads and runs over Cesaro, setting him out of the ring. Cesaro runs around the ring and flattens Cesaro. Strowman brings it back in the ring and splashes Cesaro on the corner. Strowman blasts Cesaro to the mat and covers for a 2 count, but Joe breaks up the pin. Joe unloads on Strowman. Strowman scoops Joe up for the power slam, but Joe fights out and retreats to the floor. Joe grabs the title and escapes to the crowd as fans boo. Strowman looks on. Strowman tags in Miz and runs after Joe, but Lashley stops him on the outside with a huge spear. Ricochet flies out and takes down Lashley. Cesaro drops Miz in the middle ring with an uppercut. Miz still kicks out. And Miz blocks the neutralizer and hits Skull Crusher finale for a 2 count. As Ricochet tags in, he goes up top. Ricochet nails the 630 on Cesaro for the pin and the win. After the match, showing Miz and Ricochet stand tall in the ring. As the music plays, we see Cesaro being helped away to the back, indicating possible injury, but it's shot down because he was wrestling at live events. Rollins versus Owens is confirmed for tonight's main event. Charlie Caruso is backstage with Baron Corbin. He's not sure who will be the special referee at Stomping Grounds for the Universal title match, but he will make some calls over the next few weeks and find someone who's good at their job. Sami Zayn appears and wants to give a little chat with Corbin. They send Charlie on her way and start talking. Becky Lynch and Bayley versus Lacey Evans and Alexa Bliss. We go to ring. Out comes Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch. Back to commercial. Back to the ring. Out comes SmackDown Women's Champion Bayley to a big hometown pop with the Golden Rule. We'll call it that. Alexa Bliss out first for her team as Mike Rome does ring an introduction. Lacey Evans is out next. Bayley starts off with Bliss, who covers her ears at the sound of Bayley chants. Bayley unloads and get started. Bayley with an early 2 count in the middle of the ring. More back and forth between the teams. It comes down to Evans and Becky going at it now. Evans unloads, but Bliss comes back in. Becky with a flying clothesline to Bliss. Becky goes to hit the exploder on Bliss, but Evans makes a save. Bayley comes over and takes out Evans on the floor. Becky comes right after her and takes down Bliss on the floor. Next to Evans, Bayley and Becky stand tall over Bliss and Evans on the floor. Back to commercial. Back for the break. Bliss is in control of Lynch. Evans ends up coming back in and rocking Bayley off the apron. Becky tries to fight back, but Evans keeps control. More back and forth between the two. Bayley takes out Bliss on the floor. Bayley talks trash to Evans from the apron, and Evans keeps control of Becky. Evans nails a swinging neck breaker to Lynch, then launches her onto Becky with a pin attempt for a 2 count. Evans lands bad after attempting a big move when Lynch rolls out of the way. Bliss and Bayley tag in at the same time. Bayley unloads in the corner and kicks Bayley in the head. Bayley destroys Bliss with another big move into the turnbuckles. Evans breaks up the pin attempt at 2 count. Nikki Cross appears at ringside in between Evans and Becky and accidentally runs into Becky. Evans takes advantage and drops Becky with a woman's right off the distraction. Bliss and Bayley tangle in the ring. Evans delivers a woman's right from the outside, dropping Bayley again. Evans tags in, but no one sees it as Bayley gets her knees up when Bliss goes for the twisted Bliss. Evans comes in, and Bayley turns around to a big woman's right. Evans takes advantage and covers for the pin and win. After the match, Evans and Bliss stand tall and we go to replays. Sami Zayn approaches Shane McMahon backstage and kisses up to him. Sami says Baron Corbin suggested he talk to Shane about being the special guest referee at Stomping Grounds. Sammy says maybe he should be the referee for tonight's main event between Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins as an audition for Stomping Grounds. Sammy says maybe he should be a second referee. Tonight, a second set of eyes on the match. The outside referee to help call it down the middle. Shane says he has a better idea. He repeats exactly what Sammy just said, and asks him what he thinks. Sammy says it's genius. Thanks, commercial. What is he doing? He don't make matches on Raw because he's a superstar he's the general on SmackDown only. Back to the break, Cole's Hall congratulates John Cena on landing a role in the Fast and Furious 9 movie. We go to the ring. Paul Heyman is out with a microphone. Heyman introduces himself and says he's disturbed by the level of hostility between his client, Brock Lesnar, and Universal Champion Seth Rollins. Heyman talks about how last night, against his better judgment, Lesnar didn't cash in his title shot, but took the position that he can beat Rollins on any other day. And how Rollins stood in the ring earlier tonight to brag about the many steel chair shots he delivered to Lesnar on Friday. Heyman asks if that's really the champion fans cheer for. They cheer for him again. Heyman goes on and says Rollins isn't a worthy champion. He's a feckless thug, and a stupid feckless thug at that. Because by giving Lesnar that beating, Rollins has now guaranteed that Lesnar continues to be Mr. Money in the Bank 2019. Heyman says before they were willing to say when Lesnar was cashing in, but that's not happening in the future. Heyman says there will be a more Mr. Nice Jew and no more Mr. Nice Beast. Heyman says now they won't be telling when the cash-in will happen. Heyman teases Lesnar maybe at tonight's Raw or any of the upcoming live events or even at Stomping Grounds as a special referee for the match with Baron Corbin. Heyman goes on and guarantees that Lesnar will slay Rollins when the time comes. We'll see the superstars trapped on the elevator again. They just do some attempts at comedy. EC3 pulls a fork out of his shorts and says they may have to start eating each other soon. Maverick mentions that he's getting married in a few weeks and needs to get out. EC3 is Drake's best man for the wedding. Truth confuses Drake with Hornswoggle. We go to ring. Out comes WWE Women's Champion, Tag Team Champions Peyton Royce, Billie Kay. Iconic. Back to commercial. Back for the break. There will be a new Firefly Funhouse segment with Bray Wyatt later on. We go to ring. Iconics have microphones. They brag on being the longest and defeating WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. They talk about wanting competition as fighting champions, and we see that they have two local enhancement talents in the ring. And that's Lisa Lace and Aliyah Mia. The bell rings and Peyton Royce and Billie Kay take control early on, beating the jobbers around the ring. They take turns on Lisa Lace and Aliyah. The Iconics hit a big double team move on one enhancement talent, and Kay covers for the easy win to get the non-title win. After the match, Iconics celebrate the easy win. We get a look at how Drew McIntyre helped Shane McMahon defeat Roman Reigns at Super Showdown on Friday. They show Byron Saxton's post-Super SmackDown interview with Reigns that aired online. Reigns says he's going to come back and start kicking butts to take names. And that first name will be handled at SmackDown, Stomping Grounds, Drew McIntyre. We see the ring being set up for the celebration segment. Back to commercial. We go to the ring. Out comes Drew McIntyre. Shane McMahon was also out for the celebration. Ring apron says, best in the world. In big letters. Green and white balloons are on the ring post. Table set up in the ring with champagne on ice. And Shane's World Cup trophy on display. Shane takes the microphone and praises Roman Reigns, a big, calling him a future WWE Hall of Famer, and going over some of his accomplishments. Shane goes on and brings up his win over Reigns at WWE Super Showdown on Friday. Shane says Reigns' best just wasn't enough. Shane talks about how Drew helped him get ready for the match with Reigns. Watch some of Reigns' matches and helped him study. Fans chant boring and Shane tells him to get used to it because this is his, and he's got all night. Shane says the words of encouragement from Drew are why he was able to beat Reigns. Shane says that was Super Showdown, and there's no telling what will happen at Stomping Grounds. Drew knocks the people of San Jose and says they have no respect, but he won't let them ruin his celebration. Drew also gives Reigns some props and says at Stomping Grounds he won't just beat Reigns, he will destroy and humiliate him. Drew says Shane is the best in the world, but Drew is the most dangerous. Drew says he owes Reigns, and he will physically assault him until he is no longer recognizable at Stomping Grounds. And then he will beat Reigns 1, 2, 3. Shane says Drew is so intense, but that's why he loves him. Shane says it's time to relax some and celebrate. Shane starts popping bottles. They fill up the World Cup trophy with champagne and toast each other at Span's booth. Shane says the party will continue, but the show must go on. He brings out who could join their group as the new Raw Tag Team Champions tonight. Revival, Scott Dawson, and Dash Wilder. They go for the champagne, but Shane says they can't because they have a match. Shane says they may be invited to the party later on, but only if they bring a little bit of gold. They have to win the tag titles. Shane's music hits, and we go back to commercial. Back for the break, we see more shots from Super Showdown. Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins backstage for the interview, the tag team champions. They talk about Hawkins' losing streak and Ryder not being used on TV for a whole year. But now they are ready. They praise the Usos and the Revival, but they are confident about keeping their titles tonight. To represent for the Raw Tag Team titles, Revival versus Usos versus Zack and Kurt. We go to the ring. Revival, Scott Dawson, and Dash Wilder wait as the Usos are out next. Raw Tag Team Champions Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins were out last. Ryder and Dawson go at it from the start. Ryder with a drop kick. Jay comes in, as does Dash. Jay and Ryder team up to clear the ring of a rival, sending them to the floor. Jay and Ryder go at it now. Ryder ends up getting a 2 count. Hawkins comes in, but the Revival takes him out on the floor. Revival launches Hawkins into the barrier, and he hits hard. Dawson gets down in Hawkins' face and mocks him as we go back to commercial. Back from the break. Usos with a close 2 count on Dawson after a big shot from the top. Jimmy with more offense and a Samoan drop to Dawson for a close 2 count. Jimmy sees he has no one to tag to, but he keeps fighting. This backfires as Hawkins comes in while Ryder takes Dawson to the floor. Jimmy rocks Hawkins, but Ryder tags in and levels Jimmy for a close 2 count. Ryder can't believe it. Ryder waits for the Rough Rider to Jimmy. Jimmy blocks it, and Ryder lands on his feet. Jay tags in, and Ryder hits the Rough Rider, but not on the legal man. More back and forth as Jay delivers super kicks to multiple opponents. Jay drops Ryder and goes to the top. Dawson tags himself in as Jay flies off the top onto Ryder. Dawson takes advantage and covers Ryder for the pin to steal the titles as Dash holds Jay on the floor, stopping him from coming back in the ring. Winner new Raw Tag Team Champions, the Revival. After the match, Revival takes the titles and go to the ramp to celebrate as the music hits. We go to replays. The Revival continues the celebration as the others recover. Charlie is backstage with Seth Rollins asking about Sami Zayn being at ringside for tonight's main event. Rollins isn't worried about Sami or Kevin Owens or Baron Corbin at Stomping Grounds or Brock Lesnar's threats from Paul Heyman. Till the come segment, Bray Wyatt's latest Firefly Funhouse segment. Back commercial. Back from the break, and R-Truth is still on the elevator with the other superstars. They are all bonding and becoming like family. Other superstars who were on the other side of the door are still waiting when they finally get it open. Truth almost loses the title as chaos unfolds, but he's pulled back onto the elevator thanks to Carmella. Truth keeps the title. We go to the latest edition of Bray Wyatt's Family Funhouse segment. Wyatt tasted blood from a rambling rabbit at one point and said it tasted delicious, while as Wyatt ended the segment with another message for the kids to just let him in. Seth versus Kevin Owens. We go to the ring for tonight's main event. Out first comes Seth Rollins. On commercial. Back from the break. Rollins awaits as Kevin Owens makes his way out for this non-title match. Out next comes Sami Zayn wearing a referee shirt. Sammy is introduced as a special outside referee. Sammy enters the ring and argues with the main referee, John Cone, about how everything is going to go down. We see Rollins still having his ribs taped up. Sammy checks to make sure Rollins has no weapons on him. They have a few words. Sammy gives Owens an easy pass. Back and forth between Owens and Rollins for the first few minutes. Sammy distracts the referee from the apron as Rollins has Owens rolled up for several seconds. Fans boo Sammy as Rollins goes back to work on Owens. This leads to more wasting time and arguing between Rollins and both referees. Rollins sends Owens down on the floor and hits the ropes. Rollins follows on the floor and Owens suckers him in, sending him ribs first into the barrier. Owens follows up with a DDT on the floor. Owens yells out about being the man as we go back to commercial. Now back to the ring, and Owens continues to dominate Rollins. Owens slams Rollins over his knee and bends him. Owens talks trash while keeping Rollins down. Rollins with a headbutt and a strike, but Owens is still up. Rollins with a sling blade. Owens fights right back and drops Rollins. Owens goes to the top for a big frog splash, but Owens gets his knees up just in time. Rollins looks to mount offense for a comeback, but Owens decks him. Rollins avoids a pop-up powerbomb. The trade counters, and Owens connects with a big kick. Rollins goes on and nails an enziguri. Sammy is looking worried at ringside. Rollins goes to the top, but Sammy enters the ring to check on Owens. But he shouldn't because he's the outside referee. Rollins comes down from the top as the referees argue. Owens takes advantage of the distraction and rolls Rollins up from behind for a 2 count. Rollins sends Owens over the top rope to the floor. Rollins runs the ropes and sends Owens into the barrier. Sammy gets caught in the crossfire and hits some. Rollins brings it back in and hits the stomp for a pop. Rollins covers for the pin, but Sammy pulls the main referee out. They argue at ringside some more. Sammy wants Rollins disqualified for the dive that barely hit him. Sammy has words with Rollins now. Sammy is in Rollins' face. Rollins grabs Sammy by his collar, and Sammy calls for the belt as the fans boo. Winner by disqualification, Kevin Owens. Owens is announced as a winner by disqualification. Sammy and Owens celebrate. Rollins rocks Sammy and mounts him with more punches. Baron Corbin runs down and attacks Rollins, unloading on him in the ring. Fans boo as Corbin brings a steel chair in the ring. Rollins slowly gets up as Corbin waits with the chair. Rollins counters and blocks it. Corbin retreats as Rollins swings the chair as he picks it up, hitting the top rope with it instead. Sammy tries to come from behind, but Rollins nails him with a chair. Corbin watches from the ramp as fans chant one more time at Rollins. Rollins talks trash to Corbin from the ring, then turns and unloads on Sammy with a chair. Shots as fans go wild. Rollins brings Sammy back in the ring after he tried to escape. Rollins waits in the corner and cranks up, still staring at Corbin to send a message. Fans chant burn it down. Now, Rollins delivers a big stomp to Sammy while still staring at Corbin down. Raw goes off the air with Rollins raising the title. Dark main event from this week's Raw from the SAP Center in San Jose, California saw Raw Women's Champion retain her title over Lacey Evans. After the match, Evans attacked Becky and beat her down until SmackDown Women's Champion Bayley made the save for the big hometown pop. Thanks again. That concludes my results for Raw and WWE main event. Thanks again. Peace out. See you in one minute. If you don't know, just comment, brothers and sisters. Ooh, yeah.